Spa in Belgium, the setting for round 12 of the 16 race Formula One World Championship Series. Most drivers' favourite circuit, they say, on the edge of the Ardennes forest near Liège. But in these blustery, unsettled conditions with the promise of heavy showers forecast, I doubt if many are looking forward to this grueling, daunting challenge around the 4.3 mile circuit here in Belgium. 44 laps the race is scheduled for. Nigel Mansell, the new world champion, is on pole position. Alongside him, Ayrton Senna, the outgoing world champion in the McLaren. Mansell's time 1:50.545, which earned him the pole position, set in qualifying on Friday. Saturday's qualifying disrupted by heavy showers, and even though most of the cars, in fact all of the cars, all 26 on the grid, are starting on slick tyres, you can see there from Nigel Mansell's car as he slips through the bus stop that it is just damp as this drizzly rain starts to settle on the track surface. Mansell and Senna on the front row. Schumacher in the Benetton and the second Williams of Riccardo Patrese on row 2. Just shepherding the cars at the back into position, waiting for the red, then the green. Mansell, Senna, Schumacher, Patrese. There's the green, and Mansell with a good start, using that Williams traction control. Alesi coming through from row 3. The Benetton's showing up early as well, but one of the McLarens has been left on the grid. It's Gerhard Berger. Gerhard Berger in trouble. He won't even get started in this Spa Grand Prix. He's actually removed his steering wheel from that McLaren. It's just perched on the top there, and that's going to be difficult to manoeuvre. Those marshals have got only just over 2 minutes before these cars are back into sight again. Senna leading Mansell from Patrese. Alesi ahead of Schumacher. Häkkinen showing up well. Mansell taking a peep at the inside of Senna as Schumacher comes alongside Alesi. There's Senna, Mansell. And Mansell none too pleased with the start that he got. Senna taking advantage on the roll down to the first corner and holding off the new world champion now. The Martini. Mansell pushing Senna very hard indeed in these very early stages. Fair amount of rain about on that section of the track as the wind sweeps down the valley, and it's Mansell sweeping inside Senna. He takes first place. Senna is in second. Patrese third. Schumacher fourth. And Patrese challenging now for second place inside Senna at the bus stop. He's through. Williams Renault first and second. Mansell, Patrese. Then comes Senna and Schumacher in fourth. The second Benetton of Martin Brundle, having started from row 5, is just out of the points behind Jean Alesi and Mika Häkkinen. That's the race order. The rain starting to drizzle fairly heavily at that corner. La Source, Mansell away up the hill towards Eau Rouge. Senna eking out a bit of a gap between himself and Schumacher. Schumacher desperate not to lose touch as they hurtle away up the hill. It's the circuit at which he made his Grand Prix debut a year ago in the Jordan, but that race lasted no more than a couple of hundred yards. Patrese challenges Mansell right on his tail. Schumacher with Alesi gaining ground. Schumacher looking for a way past Senna. And Patrese, knowing that all bets are off now that Nigel Mansell has won the World Championship, hoping to be able to go out and establish himself as a race winner for the first stages. Into the pits, Nigel Mansell deciding that this race can't be continued as it is on slick tyres. He's going to change to wet. So too Jean Alesi. That means Riccardo Patrese now leads from Ayrton Senna, with the two Benettons running third and fourth. Alesi's out ahead of Nigel Mansell. Gerhard Berger, an interested spectator at the side of the track. Brundle challenging Schumacher for third place, but Schumacher with a little bit too much room for manoeuvre there. And the rain really starts to come down. It's Schumacher who dives for the pits, and that means that Brundle is now up into third place behind Patrese and Senna. Schumacher slicks off, wets on those heavily treaded tyres. 7.15, good pit stop. Brundle and Senna still running out there on slick tyres. Senna with Patrese ahead of him, and Mansell trying to make up the ground. He resumed in 14th place, Jean Alesi 13th. Long way to go. Brundle into the pits. So Brundle to change now from dry tyres to wet tyres, as the Lotus of Mika Häkkinen calls in too. 7.11 by Martin Brundle. Another pit stop in under 8 seconds. Can Williams Renault match Benetton Ford in the pits? Riccardo Patrese changing from dry tyres to wet. Good stop, but delayed by the arrival of Ivan Capelli, the Ferrari ahead of him. And there goes Jean Alesi out of the race at La Source. Riccardo Patrese out on the track running ahead of Nigel Mansell as a result of this little altercation between Mansell and Alesi. Alesi going for the corner, but slithering and sliding all over the road, catching Mansell's front wheel, pushing him out over the track, but the real damage done to Alesi's chances. Alesi spinning backwards and out of the race into retirement. Mansell now chases after Riccardo Patrese, who, having spotted Mansell offline as a result of Alesi's mishap, took second place from Mansell. Mansell retakes it from Patrese at the bus stop. Schumacher and Brundle in the wake of the Williams Renaults. Senna still out in front. He hasn't stopped at all. He's still running out there on slick tyres. Tremendous race being driven by this man, the outgoing world champion Ayrton Senna for McLaren Honda. Leads by just over 5 seconds and running on wet tyres, which are giving limited adhesion to the track in these conditions. An awful lot of moisture now actually standing on the track. You can see the spray being thrown up from the McLaren's rear wheels, but he's being caught every yard. Mansell gaining, with Patrese gaining the toe as well down the straight, and the Benettons waiting in 4th and 5th places. Mansell through in red 5. There's Patrese. Next Schumacher, then Brundle. Senna out in front, and it will need all of Senna's undoubted experience and racecraft to be able to hold these charging Williams Renault twins out of first place. Here comes Mansell right up with Senna. Patrese having just lost a yard or two. Schumacher sensing his chance to move into third place. Battle rejoined between these two great adversaries. Mansell sweeping round the up. Mansell through, and he's back in the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. Senna in second place, and stealing a look in his mirrors as Patrese comes up. And Schumacher is also sensing his chance of moving past Patrese and Senna in one fell swoop. Mansell, Senna, Patrese, Schumacher, Brundle. That's the order as they head down the straight. Dip left, then right, climb uphill, and past Senna goes Riccardo Patrese, round the outside, going the long way round, but he's done it. Senna just holds off to give him the opportunity to get clear, and then concentrates on holding up Michael Schumacher. Patrese sets off after Nigel Mansell. Mansell, Williams red 5 way out in front. Senna is going to lose a place to the Benetton soon, surely. Moves across, keeps the racing line. Schumacher wise enough to wait for his opportunity. It's not going to come there. Martin Brundle waits for Schumacher to make his move. Mika Häkkinen is running in 6th place in the first of the Lotus Fords. Senna, who's won here at Spa for the last 4 successive years, but he's not going to be lucky on this occasion. Surely can't match the Williams Renaults, but of course everything depends on how the weather shapes up. Schumacher now, yes they do. Senna into the pits. He will swap from dry tyres that he's run throughout this race so far. The gamble, he admits, has failed. Good stop by McLaren. They've done their bit down there in the pits. Now it's up to Ayrton Senna, out on wet tyres to do it out on the road. Thierry Boutsen crashes out of his home Grand Prix at Spa. Boutsen, who'd swapped back from wets to dry tyres with a bit of a dry line, is out, and Schumacher is almost out as well as he goes hurtling over the curbs there and has to call in for a new set of tyres as well. Schumacher loses 3rd place and Martin Brundle moves up a notch. But Brundle too is running on wet tyres at the moment, and he will have to call in, which will surely mean that Michael Schumacher will have a chance of stealing a place. Ayrton Senna in big trouble, out on slick tyres again, and having set a very quick lap indeed, 2 minutes 5, suddenly finds his world in a complete spin. Nigel Mansell at the head of the field, and still running on wet tyres, and perhaps a question mark over the Williams Renault tactics. Have they left it too late to call in Patrese and Mansell? Here comes Brundle, so both Benettons will have changed back to slicks once this pit stop is completed, and they will be in a position to challenge the Williams Renaults for the lead. Brundle comes out, having stopped in 3rd place. Schumacher goes through on the track to take over 3rd. Brundle will resume in 4th. And Mansell and Patrese have yet to stop. Schumacher hurtling along and eating into the lead enjoyed by Williams Renault. Mansell and Patrese. Patrese is the man who stops first. Patrese in for his 2nd pit stop, changes back to slick tyres. The tyres they started on, the dry line is now quite pronounced all the way around the Spa circuit. Mansell remains out in front. He's got to come in next. But has the team left it too late? Can Schumacher, while Mansell is in the pits changing tyres, go through and lead a Grand Prix for the first time in his short career? Mansell back inside of the pits. Will he peel off here as Senna goes past Mika Häkkinen and takes 5th place? It's Mansell into the pits. This is a vital stop, a crucial stop. If Mansell wants to clinch the record of most numbers of Grand Prix wins in a season, eclipse Senna's record of 8 set a couple of years ago. If he's going to make it 9 for this season as far as he's concerned, he's now got to catch Michael Schumacher, because Schumacher has gone through and leads the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. 23-year-old West German on his way to victory for the first time in his 18-race career. There he is from Kempen, just about 60 or 70 kilometres from here. He's going faster every lap, 158.416. That is a lap which compares with the mark set by Roberto Moreno a year ago, 155.161, also, of course, in a Benetton. Schumacher with Mansell about 5 seconds back from him at the moment. But Mansell starting to falter. The Williams Renault just not sounding as healthy as it did right at the start of the race. A bit of a misfire developing, and Mansell appears to be losing power. Mansell resumed about 3 seconds behind Schumacher when he came out after his 2nd pit stop, but he's lost a couple of seconds to the Benetton since then, and he's losing more time as the race wears on. It's Schumacher who must now sense that this race is in the bag. All he's got to do is keep going, barring mechanical disaster and his own impetuosity. He can actually clinch 10 points and his first Grand Prix win. coming from only about 60 kilometres away. This is the track that he regards as his home ground rather than Nürburgring or Hockenheim. Johnny, all the trials and tribulations of Spa in the rain overcome. Schumacher wins at Spa. 18 Grand Prix appearances, and that's his first win. And what a convincing one. He's over 30 seconds ahead of the new world champion Nigel Mansell. Mansell coming up towards the bus stop, and then he will be home in second place. Mansell's points making sure that Williams win the Constructors' Championship for 1992. So 2 titles will be celebrated down there at Didcot. Mansell, the Drivers' Champion. Williams, the Constructors' Champions. Riccardo Patrese is following Mansell home in 3rd place. So 10 points picked up by Williams-Renault from the 12th Grand Prix of the season. But all the delight, the joy, the celebrations down there in the Benetton camp. Schumacher home, almost 37 seconds ahead of the world champion. Patrese in 3rd. The second Benetton of Martin Brundle making it in 4th, ahead of outgoing world champion Ayrton Senna in 5th. And Mika Häkkinen picking up a point for Lotus. Afterwards, naturally enough, the centre of attention, Michael Schumacher, the 23-year-old German, currently the hottest property in Grand Prix motor racing.
Michael Schumacher, your first ever Grand Prix win and a track where you made your debut just a year ago. How are you feeling now?
I really can't describe it. I mean, it's something crazy. But I really have to say, in the whole weekend, I felt that we quite good. And I don't know why, but when I was in the motorhome today, I thought I'm able to win this race, and that was unbelievable. And I have to say thank you to the team.
And into the record books because it's the first German driver to get a Grand Prix win since Jochen Mass back in 1975. So a proud moment for you in Germany.
Yeah, that's right. I think the German fans have waiting a long time for Formula 1 Grand Prix victory. And I really give this victory to the German fans, I have to say.
One incident where you ran wide and then you came into the pits for dry tyres. What happened there?
I just missed the apex a bit, turned in a bit too late and went a bit over the grass. Actually, I was happy that I didn't hit the barrier. But at that time I was behind Martin and I could see that his tyres were blistered, and that was a good situation for me, and immediately I decided to go in for tyre change.
Surely a big party tonight at Benetton.
Yeah, surely.
Well, delight showing on the face of the 23-year-old German, and why not? He's there in 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship with a good opportunity before the end of the season to make sure that he's actually second in only his first full season of Grand Prix racing. A rare event this season, the champion having to take 2nd place.